Tonight, Joe Biden will attempt to convince the American people that the state of our union is strong. However, given his 38% approval rating, ongoing record inflation, an open border, and wars raging around the world, we know this is so far from the truth. He will claim that his presidency has been successful and that he has made life better for the average American. He'll try to convince you that Bidenomics is effective and that Americans are better off economically than they were 4 years ago. He will try to say that he has done everything he can to secure our border, that the Senate border bill was the strongest border bill we've ever seen, and Republicans are the ones who don't want to fix the crisis. He will advocate for the total abandonment of our reliable energy sources in favor of this Green New Deal agenda. He will try to tell you not to believe your lying eyes. He will try to sell you an alternative reality from what you see and feel every day. So let's talk about the facts, because facts matter. The reality of what his administration is doing to this great country. Joe Biden's border crisis is unprecedented in scope and as a result of his own irresponsible policies. On day one of being in office, Joe Biden dismantled strong Trump-era policies that helped keep our nation safe and our border secure. His administration even bragged about it. And what has happened since? Nearly 9 million illegal immigrants have traveled to our southern border. In fact, the number of illegals that have entered since Joe Biden took office would rank as the 12th biggest state in the country, just behind my home state, the state of New Jersey. The American people overwhelmingly agree that our border crisis is the number one issue facing our nation. Yet, instead of preserving our country's sovereignty and protecting the American public, Joe Biden and his border czar, Kamala Harris, have refused to take any meaningful action to secure our border and instead choose to travel to the border for a photo op. President Biden has completely ignored the crisis at our southern border for the entirety of his presidency, and we are witnessing the detrimental consequences of his dereliction of duty every single day. He may even try to pass blame onto Republicans, calling for the passage of the terrible, awful Senate border bill. This bill does nothing. It does not build a wall. It does not end catch and release. It does not include remain in Mexico, and it keeps incentives in place that will continue to draw millions of illegals to our border. House Republicans already passed H.R. 2, the strongest border security bill ever passed. If President Biden is serious about protecting Americans, he would have acted quickly to remove and push through H.R. 2 through the Senate and sign that bill as quickly as he could. The longer he refuses to act, the more taxpayer dollars will be wasted in our housing and health care for illegal immigrants, and the longer crime will be rampant in our country. We just witnessed the tragedy of an illegal immigrant who was allowed to enter into our country, commit crimes, and then walk free in our America, murder Laken Riley, an innocent young woman with a great future. We just witnessed the tragedy of an illegal immigrant under influence crashing into Washington State Trooper Christopher Gadd, killing him instantly. These are the real-world results of being weak on the border and weak on crime. Every American killed by an illegal immigrant is a preventable tragedy. Joe Biden and his administration have no one to blame but themselves. They are responsible for this. This administration has made every American less safe. You know, he ran a campaign advocating for the defunding of our police, and under his leadership, we have seen liberal district attorneys and prosecutors refuse to do their job and lock up criminals, which has catastrophic effects on all of us nationwide. Americans feel unsafe walking the streets of our cities. Law enforcement feels abandoned by Democratic leaders, and many of America's greatest cities are descending into chaos and decay. His policies aren't just making Americans less safe, they are plunging families into financial despair. Let's talk about the reality of Bidenomics. Since Joe Biden took office, prices have surged almost 18%, costing Americans an additional $1,000 a month, while real wage growth has fallen far behind inflation. You are paying more across the board. Your wages are decreasing, and monthly home payments are so high that home ownership is quickly becoming unattainable to many in our country. Yet the president continues to tout Bidenomics by using selective special data, comparing today's economy to past economies during COVID. It's not true. But you see your bank accounts, your grocery bills, and your monthly energy bills. Everything is more expensive, and everything is cost more, and you feel it. You know it. It's real. While his economic policies continue to force Americans to run through their savings, President Biden also wants to increase our energy prices by forcing his Green New Deal agenda upon the American people, and they don't want it. He wants you to get rid of your gas car. He wants you to get rid of your gas stove. And if it wasn't for pushback from the House Republicans, you would have already experienced this and already have had to do it. And as bad as his domestic agenda has been, somehow he makes his foreign policy even worse. His weakness on the world stage and the strategy of appeasement towards our enemies has sparked wars across the world and left many of our allies, many of America's greatest allies, wondering and scratching their head. Joe Biden has had a failed presidency. He is a failed president. Do not let him tell you anything different tonight. You and I both know that we are far worse off today than we were 4 years ago. But we, the American people, can reverse course and reject his American last policies. We can ensure our union returns to where it should be and where it has been. The strongest, the proudest, the best nation the world has ever seen. Our shining city on the hill. God bless you. God bless all of you. And God bless the United States of America.